Okay. So we'll start the session today. So day before yesterday, almost the curriculum we have seen on the 31st of July. In a previous session, the basic stuff already we have seen, like what type of the ERP softwares are available in the market and what is the definition of the ERP and what type of the business processes we are keeping in the system and what are the advantages and the disadvantages if you go with the cloud environment or on-premise environment. At a very high level, what are the three different types of the models in the cloud applications? Okay, these things already we have seen in yesterday's session, and particularly in today's session, we wanted to talk about, I wanted to show you something like how we are going to access the cloud environment and what are the prerequisite stuff required in order to access the cloud environment. Then how can we work with the cloud environment? Okay, this portion I'll show you if time permits, and also we'll be able to discussing about the roles part, particularly how we are able to do the security part in the cloud application. So that is what we should be focusing on the today's session particularly. Okay, so now the cloud instance particularly, what are the prerequisites required in order to work with a cloud application? And this is a basic stuff which we need in order to work with a cloud application. Okay, so whenever we work for the Oracle applications for any customer, irrespective of the module, whether it is ACM modules or PPM modules or financials module or OTL or expense management, irrespective of the module, if I wanted to work with the cloud application, the minimum prerequisite thing is required from your end is, the first one is, it's like an internet connection. Internet connection is required whenever we wanted to work with a cloud application. And the second thing is any browser, at least one browser is required in order to work with a cloud application. Because of so we are working with a cloud application, that means the Oracle is maintain the Oracle server virtually on the internet, and we wanted to connect with the server which is located virtually on the internet, then we can start working with it. So if I wanted to connect with the server machine, that means I need the internet connection. First of all, I should have the laptop, and my laptop should have the internet connection. And also, just can you please mute yourself? Yeah. So at least if you have the laptop and if you have the internet connection with your laptop, and the next prerequisite is the browser. Every laptop is having installed with Windows, and by default will get at least one or two browsers, and any browser is required in order to work with the cloud applications. Okay, so other than the internet connection and your laptop, it's like so when Windows is available by default, and we'll get Internet Explorer. Otherwise, the Microsoft. Otherwise, yeah. So the Microsoft Edge browser, okay, which is also will get the default when the Windows is installed. Then Google Chrome. If you want, we can install the Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox or Opera, etc., etc. Okay, at least one browser is required in order to work with a cloud application, and the minimum, these are the prerequisites required in order to work with a cloud application. Okay, now whenever you start working with any customer, the customer will go to the Oracle, and the customer will take the license or subscriptions from the Oracle, and Oracle will provide you the URL. Oracle will provide you the URL along with the username and password with the customer. Okay, so whichever the license has taken by the customer from the Oracle, so after you took the license, the customer is going to provide the URLs and the username and password with you, and then you have to log in with, you have to open a browser, and you have to paste the URL, and you have to enter the usernames and password, and if you click on the sign in button, obviously the cloud environment will get opened by the system. That is what I wanted to show you now. Okay, now let us assume
Progress.
I'm working for one customer. I'm working for one customer. The customer name is it's like the customer name is MetLife, and MetLife customer has taken the license, or a subscription from the Oracle. Then Oracle has given the URL, okay, where we have to keep this URL in the address bar of the browser, and also along with the URL, the Oracle has given the username and password as part of the login credentials. Okay, so these details will be handed over to the company persons who is going to implement the project, or who is going to support the project, or who is going to upgrade the project, or who is going to the roll out the projects, etc., etc. Okay, so in a company, whenever I get these details from the customer side, like URL and the username and password, directly what I have to do is I have to go to the browser. I have to go to the browser. This is a Google Chrome browser which I opened here, and I have to go to the copy and paste the URL in the address bar. And this person is talking about the address bar where we have to paste the URL and click on the browser. Then automatically the URL specific data will get displayed in the browser. Okay, now here there is a bookmark is available here. I'm going through the bookmark here. I'm just clicking on the demo instance, and this is what the URL. Okay, till starting from https to till.com. This is what a URL which we have to receive from the customer. Okay, when I paste this URL and when you click on the enter button, obviously the system will show you the login page. The system will show you the login page, and where I have to go and enter the username and the password. Once you provide these details like the login credentials like username and password, and I have to go and I have to click on the sign in button. If I click on the sign in button, automatically your browser will show you the cloud environment. So this is how I can get the details from the customer. Because of we are working with the customer has to take the license from the Oracle, and the customer has to provide the environment details. And once we get these details, and we should be in a position to log in with those details with the help of a browser. This is how we can log in with the cloud environment. And this is a sorry, this is a cloud environment, and this is a home page particularly. I wanted to show you something about the cloud application now. Okay, so before I wanted to show you something here. See, in the top right side, I can see a couple of options. Okay, the last option is talking about the user. Okay, so whichever the credentials which I got it from the customer, with the same credentials, I have to log in, right? What is the user name and what is the password? So this option is talking about the user who has logged in with these credentials. Okay, this user. Basically, if we go with if I go with the users, particularly there are two types of users. One is the end user, and the second one is the implementation user. The end user and the implementation user. Who is the end user? In the name itself there is a meaning, end user. Okay, whoever is using the end product, okay, that I may consider as an end user. For example, for one customer, MetLife is a customer, and for MetLife customer we have implemented a project. From the MetLife company side, there are 1,000 people or 2,000 people or 2,000 resources are available. Once the Oracle applications. So once you build the Oracle applications, then after that, then whoever is working for a MetLife company, they are going to use our implemented project for their business processes. Okay. Then whoever is working for MetLife, and those users are end users. Those users are end users. Okay. Now, when it comes to the implementation user, okay, so we are from the company side and will be in a position to implement the project for the customer MetLife. Okay, as part of the implementation, then whoever is involving towards the implementation of the project, okay, myself is involving in the implementing the MetLife project, and yourself is involving towards the implementation of this MetLife project, and you and me are going to become as a implementation users. At the time of implementing the project, then whoever is involving those users we may call as a implementation user. Once implementation is done, then whoever is using our implemented product, our implemented project, those users we may call as a end users. Okay, this is where the differentiation is between the end user and the implementation user. Okay, so later on I'll show you here, and let us assume for now, you can assume like it is an implementation user only. When I click on this implementation user here, normally here the system has shown the different options here. Out of these options, in majority of the cases, and we may use only one option, which is the setup and maintenance. The setup and maintenance. As I told you earlier, it's like whenever we work with Oracle applications, irrespective of the module, and we'll be doing only two things. One is the setups and other one is the process. Okay. In previous sessions, I have already shown you this. Okay, let me show you this. See this. So irrespective of the module, and I have to go and I have to do the setups, and I have to jump into the process after I completed the setups of my module. Okay. My question is how I can able to do the setups for PPM, how I can able to do the setups for financials, how I can able to do the setups for the SCM, etc. You are from the SCM and I am from the PPM, and I have to take care of the setups of the PPM, and you have to take care of the setups for SCM. Got it. So where you should go and do the setups, and where I should go and do the setups. There is a one centralized place where I have to go and do the setups, which is a functional setup manager. In other words, we may treat this as a setup and maintenance. Setup and maintenance. If I go to the system here, when I click on the user on the top right corner, the system has shown some options. Out of these options, there is a one option which is nothing but a setup and maintenance, which I used to call as a functional setup manager. With the help of the functional setup manager, what exactly I can do? I can do the my area specific setups. If I'm working for the PPM, and by going through this setup and maintenance, and I can do the setups of my PPM. Okay, if you are from SCM, you can go to the same, you can log in with your credentials and you can go to the setup and maintenance, and you can do the setups from your respective area. You just let me click on this setup and maintenance. See, this is where everyone should come and do the setups for their respective areas. How can I know whether I can do the setups for the PPM or financials or any other module? Okay, then if you look at the left, in the left side, the top portion here, I can see a word called as a setup. Here I can see a word called as a setup. Okay. Now, if I click on the down arrow here, I can see each and every option we are going to consider as a one module. Whenever you are going to do the setups for the financials module, okay, now I have to select this setup as a financials. Otherwise, I have to do the setups for the PPM particularly. Okay, if you expand this, and if you go here, if you come down, and here I can see two options. One is a project financial management, and other one is a project execution management. Okay. In the day one already I have shown you like, see, the PPM is segregated into the two things. One is a project financial management, other one is a project execution management. Okay. These are two things I can able to see here. If I expand this, what happens? it is expanded to show the modules. If I wanted to do the setups of the PPM, particularly on the financial management, I can choose this. Okay. Otherwise, if I wanted to do the setups for the SCM side, particularly on the procurement, I can go ahead and I can choose this. Whenever you choose any module here, okay, you can come to the same place and you can select the financials because of you are the finance functional consultant, and I should come to the same place and I can go ahead and I can select the project financial management because of I'm the PPM functional consultant. Irrespective of the model, this is a centralized place where everyone should go and do the setups for their respective areas. If I select the procurement here, based on your selection here, okay, so the functional areas will get populated here. If I select the financials here, the financials specific functional areas will get displayed. If I select a project financial management, and the project financial management specific functional areas will get displayed. Each functional area, it contains a list of setups which we have to do. Now I selected setup as a project financial management. Then the project financial management specific functional areas are already displayed here. I went for the project foundation. I just clicked on the project foundation. Here I can see a couple of setups which I can see. Here, whatever we can see here in the middle, and each and everything is it's a setup or configuration. How we are going to do this configuration, that's a different story. Then we'll be focusing in upcoming sessions. Okay, that you don't worry. At a very high level, I wanted to show you something like the cloud environment. Okay, I wanted to introduce the cloud environment, how it will be with you. Okay, here there are two options. One is a required task, another one is an all task. Okay, so for any module, there are certain setups which are required, which are mandatory to do it. And there are for few setups which are not mandatory to do it. And how can I know which are mandatory and which are not mandatory? If I go with the all task in a project foundation, how many setups are there? And all the setups I can see here. All the setups I can see here. Otherwise, I don't want to see all the setups which are under the project foundation functional area. I wanted to see only the mandatory task. I wanted to see only mandatory setups under the project foundation. Instead of all task, I can go with the required task. Okay. So under the project foundation, these are the mandatory tasks. These are the required tasks we have to set up for the respective module. Okay. Now let's go to the financials. If I choose the financials here, what happens? The financial specific functional areas will get displayed here. If I click on the payables, account payables is one of the module which comes under the financials module. Okay. Now let's see if I go with the financials module. So if I go with the Oracle Cloud Financials, okay, there are some subset of modules which is a GL, okay, General Ledger. The other one is AP, nothing but accounts payable, and the third one is AR, okay, accounts receivable, and the fourth one is FA, okay, fixed assets, and the fifth one is cash management. So these are the modules which are as part of the Oracle Cloud Financials. Okay, now I wanted to do the setups for the account payables. Here I wanted to choose a setup as a financials, and I can go with the payables here. If I click on the payables functional area, and I can see the payables specific mandatory setups. If I wanted to see all the setups, and I can go with it. Okay. Otherwise, I wanted to do the setups for the account receivables. I can choose a setup as a financials only because of the receivables and the payables comes under the financials. If you come down here, I can see a receivables. If I click on the receivables functional area, I can see the AR specific setups here, AR specific task here. Otherwise, I wanted to do the setups for the fixed assets. I can choose a setup as a financials and I can go with the fixed assets. The fixed assets, specific setups I can see here. So that is how the Oracle is designed. Whenever you wanted to do the setups and simply you come to this place and you can go ahead with the setups of your respective area, Got it. This is all about the functional. This is all about the functional setup manager. This is all about a functional setup manager. Other than this, something I wanted to show you here. For example, I can select the setup as a project financial management. Okay, there is a setup project foundation. In the project foundation, I can see a setup called manage expenditure types. Manage expenditure types is the one of the setup which is as part of the PPM module. Okay, I came to this centralized place. I mean to say the setup and maintenance, and I can select the setup as a project financial management. And I don't know whether this expenditure type is under project foundation functional area or work structures functional area or organization structures area. I don't know in which functional area this setup is available, this task is available. Then what should I do now? Here there are two feasibilities. If you don't know whether the setup is available in which functional area of the module, then there are two options. One is I can go with the local search. Another one is I can go with the global search. Other one is we can go with the global, sorry, global search. Now see here, when I go to the system, here this is talking about the local search. That means whenever I type something here and when I click on this magnifier symbol, based on your words here, the system will go to this respective module based on your selection, and the system will search for the specific task, for which task or which setup you are searching. Okay, let us see. And here I can search for the manage expenditure types, If I click on this magnifier symbol, obviously the system will go to this module and verify the setups based on your search criteria here. See, the system has populated this manage expenditure types. If we click on it, see, manage expenditure types is a task which is under the functional area project foundation. The system itself is saying this is a task which comes under this functional area like project foundation. And manage expenditure types of proceeds of sale indicated. This is a setup which comes under the functional area capital projects. Got it. When I click on this, see, manage expenditure types. When I click on this, automatically the system will route it to the respective setup. This is the setup where I have to do the configuration of the expenditure types. This is how I can able to take the help of the local search. Okay. For example, I wanted to search for manage project types. See, manage project types, which is under the project foundation functional area. Manage project types capitalization options, which is under the capital project functional area. Got it, ma. Now I wanted to search for one particular task under the financials. Now manage invoice options. This is one of the tasks which the finance person has to do it because of this is the setup. It belongs to finance module. Here I have selected setup as a PPM, project financial management. Still I wanted to search for the setup specific to the financials. Let me type here like this and let me click on the magnifier symbol. The system will show you No task associated to enable functional areas and features of this offering were found. That means, so there is no, the system found with the zero results. Okay, system did not found any, the specific result, any specific results for this manage invoice options. Because of this is an option specific to the financials, not specific to the PPM. See, if I change this setup as a financials, the same option I can search here. See, manage options I can see. Because this is belongs to the financials model. Got it. Especially this function is under the functional area, payables functional area. Payables functional area. This is how the local search will work. Otherwise, irrespective of the module, I don't want to select the setup as a financials or a project financial management or a project execution management or procurement or something. I wanted to go with a global search now. I wanted to go with a global search. Okay, then where it can be available? If you go to in the right side, I can see one rectangular box inside it. I can see there are three horizontal lines, which I used to call as a task list. If I click on the task list here, the system will show you the different task. The system will show you the different task. Out of these, the last option is a search. And this I may call as a global search. This I may call as a global search. If I click on it, and this is something like a global search, and here there is no provision to select the model here because of it is a global. Now I can search for manage expenditure types. If I click on this search, and I'll get it. This is the setup belongs to PPM. And here I can search one finance specific setup, manage invoice options. See, I can get it. But I did not select the setup as a financials, or I did not select the setup as a PPM, project financial management, or a project execution management, something which I have to select only on the local search. Okay, which is not applicable for the global search. Got it? So this is how it's all about the functional setup manager. Okay. Now, if I go to the home page, let me explain what options are available at the home page. Okay. So on the top right corner, the last option is the user. And I went for the setup and maintenance, like the functional setup manager, which we used to call as a FSM. Okay. Next, this option is particularly talking about the notifications. Something like I wanted to create one invoice. You went for one shop to buy 100 laptops. The shop owner has given the invoice copy with 10 lakhs. Where do I go and create this invoice for 10 lakhs within the Oracle applications? The financial models will help us. Here, the customer requirement is, it's like whenever they create an invoice more than 5 lakhs rupees. Okay. So some approval is required from the higher authorities. Like supervisor approval is required. That means whenever you create invoice with a 10 lakhs more than 5,000, okay, supervisor has to approve it. That means when you create invoice with a 10 lakhs, and the one notification will triggered, and the notification will be sending to the supervisor, and the supervisor will open the notification, and supervisor will verify the invoice details, and the supervisor can either can approve the invoice or reject the invoice. Okay, if you go with these symbol, so which we used to call as a bell notifications. Bell notifications. Someone has to create one transaction, another one has to approve the transaction. The other one, how the other one knows somebody has created an invoice by getting the notifications. If I log in with a supervisor credentials, and every day I used to monitor the notifications here. If I click on this, and here I used to monitor the notifications. If somebody is requesting the approval from my side, and I used to open the notification here, and I can click on the approve, or I can click on the reject based on your decision. If invoice is created with the wrong data, definitely I can reject it. If invoice is created with the proper data, definitely I can approve it. Going forward, we can see these notifications in detail, approvals and the notifications in detail. Don't worry about it. This session is at a very high level. Okay, what options are available at the cloud screen? Okay, and the next this will talk about the watch list. This will talk about the watch list. It contains some set of the shortcuts. Okay, normally I have to go to the invoice screen. There is a certain navigation is available. There is certain navigation is available. You log in with your credentials, and I have to go to the payables tab, and I have to go to the invoices work area. And if you go to the task list, and there I can see an option create invoice. If I click on it, and obviously the invoice page will get opened. So this much navigation we have to follow to create the invoice. Okay, so to avoid this and these invoice creations, not only the invoice creation, there are the other stuff is also available. That means the other processes specific shortcuts are available in the watch list. Okay, this is a new user, and this user is not yet performed any processes within the system. That's the reason I don't see any watch list here. Okay, if this user is performed something on this particular system, and definitely I can able to see certain processes as a shortcuts in the watch list. Okay, and next it is this star symbol which represents the favorites. Okay, hope everybody knows how to bookmark the URLs in the browsers. Okay, every time I don't want to copy, I don't want to maintain the data in the notepad, and I don't want to, every time I don't want to go to open the notepad and copy the URLs and paste the address bar and click on the enter button. And I don't want to follow this procedure every time. In a day-to-day basis, I wanted to use the same thing. Instead of it, if I bookmark, if I add your URL into favorites, then every time it's very easy process to use the favorites to open the links every day in a day-to-day basis. Okay, that in the same way, the same thing will applicable in the cloud environment as well. I wanted to regularly, I wanted to open only 2 to 3 screens. I don't want to follow the navigations to open the 2 to 3 screens in a day-to-day basis. If I bookmark, if I add those 3 pages into the favorites, if you go to the favorites, we'll get the direct options. If I click on the option directly, it will be routed to the respective page instead of following the navigations to open the same page. Okay, so if I click on this the star, see, these are the some the recent items which the somebody has opened with these credentials. Okay, if you click on the favorites, and no favorites are available here, no favorites are available here. If you want, we can add the favorites. Okay, so if I go to the home page, and this home icon, it shows, it represents the home page. If I click on the home page, the other environment will get displayed. If I go to the procurement, otherwise if I go to the payables, and if I click on the invoice, see, this page is opened, right? If I go to the favorites here and add favorites, if I click on the add favorites, this page will be added to the favorites page. Let's see. Now I can see only two options here, manage favorites and add favorites. If I click on add favorites and the third one I can see. See, third one I can see, right? Invoice workbench. This environment is the invoice workbench. Invoice workbench, I'm going to add as a favorite. Let me click on the save and close. See, if I go to the favorites and now I can see the invoice workbench. That means I don't want to go to the home page and I don't want to go to the payables and I don't want to click on the invoices. As soon as you log in with your credentials and you directly go to the favorites and you directly click on the invoice workbench, the same page will get open here. That is what the advantage of the favorites. Hope everybody knows it in the browsers. Okay. And the next one is the home page. Home page. When I click on this, for how many modules you have an access. Okay. So those modules you can able to see in the home page. This is what the home page is. This is what your user name. Okay. Here we can see certain tabs are available. Each and every tab we are going to treat as a one particular module. One particular module. So according to our discussion, okay, in the financials, we have these modules: the general ledger, account payables, account receivables, fixed assets, and cash management. If I go to the system, here I can see the payables module is available. Okay. Similarly, I can see the receivables module. If I click on the payables module, and this will get further expanded to one springboard where I can see the options which I used to perform in the payables module. Normally in the payables module, I can able to do the invoice creations and the making the payments for the invoices. And also if I go to the receivables, and the receivables module is a further expanded in into one springboard, and this is a springboard which consists of the items, what exactly we are able to do under the receivables module, like creation of the transactions and doing the customer billing and the revenue and the receipts, and we are able to do under these uh, receivables module. Similarly, if you go for the fixed assets. So fixed assets is also comes under the financials. In the fixed assets, we used to create the assets and run the depreciations, etc., etc. And the one more thing, expenses, which is also comes under the financials only. There is a story behind this, and going forward, when it will be coming into a picture, then I'll tell you the story. What was the behind this? Why the Oracle has keep these expenses under the financials. Okay. Now, there is another model, general ledger. The general ledger, see, general accounting. So it is same as the general ledger. In the general ledger, what we can perform, normally we used to open the periods or we used to close the periods, and we used to store, we used to transfer the data, transfer the transactional information from the other modules into the GL in the form of a journals, and particularly if you wanted to see the journals, and we can able to go ahead with this option.
Yes, PPM start చేశారు.
For period closure, for period opening and all, we can go with this option, like a period close or period open. So this is how we can log in with the system. We can log in with Oracle applications, and based on the access which you have, and you can able to see the different modules, specific tabs in the home page like this. I shown you something about the financials module specific specific tabs here. Now I am a PPM functional consultant, and where should I go and do the work from my side? If you are really working with the if you are really working with the PPM module, and somebody has to provide the access in order to work with the PPM module, and in the home page, especially as a PPM functional consultant, and I should touch with the projects tab, and also I should touch with the contract management tab. In the contract management tab, I can able to create the contracts, and I can able to generate the contract specific customer customer invoices, and also company specific revenues. We can able to do it. This is all comes under the contract management and also the project billing. I told you very clearly the enterprise contracts and the project billing will work together. If I assign the enterprise contracts model related roles, and you will get an access to only with the contracts. Along with it, when you assign the project billing specific roles, and additionally will get the invoices and the revenues under the same tab, contract management. Got it? Now, apart from this, there is one more module, which is the project costing, project foundation, etc. And we have to touch with the projects tab here. When I touch with the projects tab here, and it is further expanded as a one springboard, and which contains there are a couple of options like a project financial management, where I should go and create the projects, and where I should go and do the budgeting and the forecasting, and where I should go and do the project approvals or budget approvals, etc. And if you go for this option like a cost working area, each and everything is a one working area. This is a project working area, and this is a cost working area, and this is a management working area. These are the dashboards, and already we have discussed about the high level the features of the reporting, and out of the 5 to 6 features of the reporting, and one way of the reporting is the dashboards, and these are the dashboards. Team member dashboard, I can see the project manager dashboard, I can see the project performance dashboard, I can see. There are multiple dashboards are available for each module. Now we are in the projects module, I mean to say the PPM module. So I can see these are the dashboards. So in the cost working area, what exactly we wanted to do it is, if there is a project, obviously we can spend the money on the project. Let us assume you started construction of your house or apartment or villa or something. If you consider your project as a villa construction, starting from the construction, you are going to spend a lot of money on the construction premises, and those are the expenses. You are going to buy the material, cement, steel, etc. And these expenses we are going to check in the cost working area. And the project creation, which can happen in the project financial management, okay. So this is how I can go with the model, the respective modules, and I can work with the respective modules. And this user is assigned with all the module specific roles. That is the reason why I can see the finance module specific tabs here, and PPM specific tabs here, and also the procurement specific, SCM specific tabs here. Normally in the real-time scenarios, once a project is implemented and went for the live, and if you are a finance guy, and somebody has to provide the finance specific roles, that means you can able to see only finance specific tabs here. If I'm a PPM functional consultant, and I should get an access only for the PPM, not for the financials, and not for the procurement, etc. It's based on the roles assignment for your user, and you should get an access to the respective module, and then you can start working on it. So being a PPM functional consultant, and if you get a finance access, it doesn't make sense. Being a finance functional consultant, if you get an access to the PPM once the system went for the live, it doesn't make sense. That is where the security will work based on the roles, which we are going to talk about in tomorrow's session. The entire security, how the security will work in the cloud environment, which we are going to talk about in the tomorrow's session. Okay. So in today's session, it's purely focusing on the cloud environment, how the cloud environment will be. So if we click on each and every module like a tab, when I click on the projects, and the projects is expanded into these work areas. So in the left side, I can see there are some options are available. There are some options are available. Okay, so what are these options? So these options are quick actions. These options are the quick actions. Let's see, create a project from the template. Create a project from the template. This is an option. The same option is available under the project financial management. See, let's see, whenever I wanted to create a project based on the template, let me check the feasibilities. Then one feasibility is you log in with your own credentials and you come to the home page and you click on the projects, and in the left side you can click on the create a project from the template. When I click on it, obviously the system will show you the different screen, and this screen the system will show you. Let me take a screenshot of it. Let me take a screenshot of it. Okay. Now I'll close it. I'll close it. Let me go for the other feasibility I wanted to show you. And I'll go for the home page, and I'll go for the projects module, and I'll go for the project financial management. Inside the project financial management, I can go for the task list, and here there is an option create a project. If I click on the create a project, and something I can get here. See, whatever the screenshot I have taken previously. So in the screenshot, I went through the quick actions, but here I went through the original navigation. Okay, which one is better? Through the quick actions only, because of it will reduce our time. The same screen I can see, right? Even if you go through the quick actions, I can see the same screen. Even if I go through the original navigation, and I can see the same screen, then which option will be a better? The quick actions only. So that's a reason the Oracle has designed in such a way that the Oracle is decided to reduce the time for the users. Then who are all using these cloud applications, they wanted to reduce the time by going through the navigations or something. Okay, so these are the quick actions. So sometimes I wanted to check all my financial projects. Sometimes I wanted to check what are my deliverables and what are my projects and what are if any issues are available towards any projects. Yeah, even if you go to the payables module, and I can see some quick actions. See, create invoice, create invoice. I am just clicking on the create invoice here. Let me copy this. So let me cancel this. Then again, I'll go for the home page and go to the payables module, and I'll go for the invoice, and I can go to the task list, and I can go to the create invoice. Now we can compare. We can compare. Is it a same screen or a different screen? The same screens only, right? So this is how the Oracle is provided as a quick actions, only for the few options, not all the options as provided. So in majority of the cases, what is the maximum screens the repeatedly the users can use only those options. So the Oracle is designed as a quick actions. Okay, so this is how it will work here. Additionally, if I go to the home page, whatever the options, whatever the work areas we can see, and whatever the tabs as a module, so we can see in the home page, the same stuff is available in the other place as well. If you focus on the left side, in the left side top portion, I can see 3 sleeping lines, okay, which I used to call as a navigator, which I used to call as a navigator. If I click on the navigator, how many tabs I can see at the home page? The same tabs I can see in the navigator as well. See, if I go to the payables, if I click on the payables, it is further expanded into the multiple work areas. Like here I can see payables dashboard, invoices, and payments. If you go to the home page, in the home page, in the payables, what options I can see? The same options I can see, right? Which I could see in the navigator. Now, If you go to the projects, in the projects, what options I can see? The project financial management, cost to dashboards, to management, to my work. Now, I wanted to show you the same stuff if you go for the navigator. Projects, see here, project financial management is there and cost is there, my work is there, management is there, requirements is there, dashboards are there. And one thing I could see, the assets is there in the navigator, which I cannot see in the home page. Where is the problem? Whatever the options I could see in the home page, the same options the system has to show in the navigator. But in the navigator, there is a one work area is available, whereas it is not available in the home page. Where is the problem? See, in each and every module, I can see a plus symbol here. In each and every module, I can see a plus. If I go with a plus here, if I click on the plus, you come down, you can see a projects column here. You can see a projects column. See here, in the projects column, here how many options are there? Each and every option will get visible at the navigator. Okay, Kani, but based on your selection, whatever the options you have highlighted here, whatever the options you have selected here, only those work areas will get displayed in the home page. Now, the assets is not enabled here. Now, I'm enabling it. And go back and let me save and close. Now, you go to the projects module and you can check. I can see assets now. See, the requirements option is not there. If I go to the navigator and if I go with the projects here, the requirements is available here. But the same requirements is not available under the projects tab in the home page. Same thing. If you go with the plus here and you can check the projects column. Yeah, you have to enable this. You go back and you click on the save and close. You come down. You click on the projects, come down. Can you see the requirements? Yes, now I can see the requirements option here. So this is how we can see the home page and the options we can see at the home page, or options we can see at the navigator. And these are all the couple of options I can see on the top. And this magnifier symbol, always everybody knows it's like a search. If you wanted to search for something, and you can able to use it. Okay, so we have seen some quick actions of each module, and we have seen the navigator, and we have seen what options are available under each work area, under each module, and also there is a one tools tab here, which I wanted to show you something here. There is a tools tab. In the tools tab, there are certain work areas I can see. There are certain work areas I can see. So the important thing is this work area is talking about the reports. Particularly, we have discussed about at a very high level. I told you about the reporting is we have a 4 to 5 different types of the reporting, like OTBA reporting, BA reporting, and smart view reporting, and the dashboards and KPIs, etc., etc. So in the cloud environment, where exactly we should go and do the reporting? This is the place. If we go to the tools tab, and I can able to do the reporting in the reports and analytics page, and when you go for this scheduled process, when you go with this scheduled process, okay, let me give one example here. And there is a one module account payables. Okay, normally in account payables, what exactly we wanted to enter? Some supplier invoices. That means I went for one shop to buy 100 laptops. The shop owner has given the invoice. Now, you come to your home and you can take a manual copy of the invoice. The same invoice you are going to register in the Oracle applications. That is the reason you go for this account payables module and create an invoice. And whatever you could see in the invoice copy, the same information you can replicate in the account payables module in the form of a supplier invoice. And later on, you can interface. Later on, you can import this supplier invoice, which is created in the account payables module into the PPM. Okay. How you are going to import the supplier invoice, which is created in account payables module into the PPM module. In between, these are two modules. This is from a financial module and this is for the projects module. I mean to say the PPM module. Both are different, but I wanted to import the invoices from AP into the PPM. How can it's possible? I have to run the program, import cost program. Import cost is the program which is given by the Oracle, and whenever I run this program, this program what it will do is it will go to the account payables module and it will verify is there any eligible transactions to pick up or not. If there are any eligible transactions are there in account payables module, this import cost program will take the eligible transactions from AP and the same transactions will be imported into the PPM. That is what the job of this import cost program. We are not able to fetch the information from account payables into the PPM. We are giving the instructions to the system to import the data from the account payables into the PPM module. How can we give the instructions into the system to fetch the data from AP into the PPM? And I need to run this program. Program. And where should I go and run this program? Using an option, if you go to the tools tab, and there is an option scheduled processes. I mean to say this is where if you go to the home page and click on the tools and click on the schedule process. Let me click on the schedule process. So if I click on the schedule process, this page will get open, and here there is an option schedule new process. Scheduled new process. Going forward in a day-to-day basis, many times we used to come to this schedule process and run the couple of programs. Okay, so it will reduces our manual effort. Instead of our effort, the system will take care of something like fetching the information from the other modules into the PPM or something. Okay, here if I go with the down arrow, and if I go with the search option here I can search with the import cost program. No, your voice is not audible. Your voice is breaking. Come again. No, still I cannot able to hear anything from your end. Anybody is hearing anything from Abhishek?
No, his audio is breaking.
Yes, his voice is breaking from Abhishek.
Abhishek, can you text what you are saying?
Okay, I'll give you the time. Okay, as soon as I complete this. Okay, don't worry. So if I search the program like this, and if I click on OK, and this is the program we are running, and what exactly this program will do, that is what the Oracle has mentioned in the description. Okay, so this program will create a project cost and the cost distributions for the transactions in the project costing open interface table using the parallel processing. Okay, so at this stage, even if you cannot able to understand this, that's okay, because
Hello.
when
Hello.
hello,
Uh, no, what I was trying to ask.
Yeah, sure.
no, I'm not getting anything from you. Who else is talking now? Uh, so it may be an internet issue from his end. Okay. So at this stage, even if I discuss something about this justify this, not able to understand. Okay, because it will take discussing about the import cost, it will take more time, at least 1 or 2 classes. Okay, for now, you remember the import cost program will fetch the data from other modules into the PPM. Okay, so now every time in a day-to-day basis, I used to create the thousands of invoices. Every time when I create the invoice and when I back to this import cost, when I back to this PPM and running this import cost program, every time for the 1,000 times, it doesn't make sense. So here what we have to do is, we'll be in a position to give the instructions to the system to run this program automatically for once in a day or twice in a day or once in a week or twice in a week or once in a first quarter or twice in a first quarter. That is how we can give the instructions to the system. Then if I give the instructions to the system in this way, automatically based on the time intervals which we are going to set by schedule by scheduling this program, automatically the system will run this import cost program. When the system runs this import cost program, automatically whatever the eligible transactions are there in the other modules, then automatically this program will pick those transactions and will keep it in the PPM module. When I click on OK here, how can I give the instructions in such a way? Okay, if you wanted to run this program manually, and we have to provide these parameters, and you can go ahead and you can click on the submit. Otherwise, I wanted to give you the instructions to the system to run this program automatically, and you go with advanced option here. You go with the advanced. So if I wanted to go with advanced option, the minimum information which I have to provide as the business unit and the transaction source. So my business is running in all over the country, all over the world. Okay, so my business is in US, UK, India, etc., etc. So you are scheduling this import cost program for which country? That is what we are going to mention as a business unit. So US is one of the unit of your business. UK is one of the unit of your business, and Singapore is one of the unit of your business where you are operating your business. Okay, so here this user, he did not get any access to the any business units. That's where we are not getting any business units. Anyhow, we'll continue the same topic in a tomorrow session as well. Okay, you don't worry about it. So behind the screen, just I wanted to provide some data access, and the data access also I wanted to discuss in the tomorrow session, and uh, we'll we'll see the same stuff in a tomorrow session, because something is wrong behind the screen. I can set it up and I can come to the same screen in tomorrow session. So any questions from anybody so far?
Yeah, hi, Mithun here. I want to understand what a watch list is again, if you don't mind.
Yeah. 1 second. 1 second. Let me show you clearly. It's a very good question. So this is a different environment. Yeah, let me log in with my own credentials of the instance. Okay. Now I am clicking on the watch list here. I am clicking on the watch list here. So this is the user which I am using since almost 1 year. Okay. I did so many things in this particular instance from this login. Okay. So whatever I have shown you here in the home page, whatever I have shown you, this user is very new. Nothing I have done. Nothing I have done here. Wait. If I click here, previously nothing is shown up here. Now it is showing something. Okay. So now if I see this, what happened? I just clicking on the watch list. You come down. See this. Invoices. Under the invoices section, invoices on hold. Okay, how many invoices are on the hold? 50 invoices. How many invoices are pending approval? 0 invoices. How many invoices are rejected? 2. If I click on the invoices on hold 50, directly the system will route to the invoices page where I can see the invoices on the hold. I can see the 50 invoices. Okay, you just click on the invoices on the hold. So simply nothing but in the watch list, I can see a shortcuts of your processes, invoice creation and viewing your invoice and viewing your invoice with the hold. These are all comes under the processes only. See, these are the invoices which are under the hold, Normally, if you don't go with the watch list, normally, how can I see these transactions on the hold status? Now I'll go to the home page. The invoices I can create in the payables module. So I can go to the payables tab here. And invoices I can create in this work area. So I can go to here. And I can go to the task list. And I can search with the manage. I can go with the manage invoices. And I can give you the business unit. And I can give you the invoice numbers. And I can click on the search so that the system will display the list of invoices. And then you can extract it into the Excel sheet and you can apply the filters to see the invoices which are on the hold. If I provide you something here, invoices information, if I click on the search option, then system will retrieve all the invoices irrespective of the status. But I wanted to check the invoices which are on the hold. So whatever the invoices you can see, all the invoices you can see in the results box here, and you can go and you can extract it into the Excel sheet. In the Excel sheet, you can apply the formulas, you can apply the filters. And then I can see the invoices which are on the hold. I don't want to go this much process. Okay, directly if I go to the watch list here, and if I go to the invoices on hold 50, invoices 50, the system will directly route to the same screen, and that too I can see only invoices which are on the hold. See, held by the system, what is the due date and what is the business unit. Okay, so this is how we can see. Got it?
Yeah, understood. One more question. Will this be, it's automatically generated by system? Like what should be on the watch list, or is it like we have to select what all things we need to, check like this? Like, for example, if invoices, watch list, if I can choose, sometimes I might not be going and checking frequently, right? So will I be able to select what to be displayed there?
No, I did not get your question.
I guess what he was asking is how to configure the watch list. What are the points that I have to see?
There is no setup. By default, when you get an access, when you log in with your own credentials, by default you can see these options on the top. No additional configuration is required. By default, we can see all these options. in a day-to-day activities and whatever the activities you are running, like invoice creations, project creations, and customer billing revenues. So in a day-to-day activities, you are going to create a number of transactions. Okay. So based on this, the watch list will get updated automatically.
Okay.
That's where
Understood.
the behind the screen, the system will run. No additional configuration is required.
Understood.
Still any questions? In a tomorrow session, we'll be focusing completely on the security. And before, I wanted to discuss about the security piece. And I wanted to show you something about the schedule process, which we wanted to continue as a continuation session for today's session. Okay. And also we'll discuss one more thing, and I'll tell you. Okay. So, Satish, can you stop the recording? Satish? Okay. Anyhow, the recording will be placed and no issues. Yeah. Thanks for everyone. We'll meet in tomorrow's session at the same time.
Thank you.